Happy Halloween, everyone. We asked you guys if you wanted a Scariest Animatronics Part 3 video, and so, by popular demand, here it is.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination.
Hopper and the Insects in It's Tough to Be a Bug. It's Tough to Be a Bug opened in Disney's Animal Kingdom in 1998, followed by a second version in Disney California Adventure in 2001. This supposedly kid-friendly show features Flick and many other insects. Flick has made us honorary bugs just long enough for him and his pals to show off a few insect survival skills, and a rousing musical number to remind us just how important bugs are in the world. Everything is going great until Hopper arrives. The 9-foot-tall, 4-armed grasshopper appears out of nowhere, bursting onto the stage in an explosion of smoke. With one glassy eye, spindly limbs, and a disturbing snake-like rattle from his sputtering wings, the animatronic scolds the audience for the horrific way humans treat the insect kingdom. He is pretty frightening, but the worst part of the show is when Hopper calls his insect friends to attack guests. They show movie clips from old monster movies that feature giant bugs. They attempt to flatten the audience using a giant fly swatter, and lots of Black Widow spiders go up and down within inches of the guest's reach. Thankfully, in the end, a chameleon tries to eat Hopper and he gets scared, so he retreats. The show closed permanently in Disney's California Adventure on March 19, 2018, when a Bugs Land closed to make way for a Marvel-themed land. Thankfully, we can still find it at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Ursula in Ariel's Undersea Adventure. The long overdue Little Mermaid Dark Ride finally arrived in Disney California Adventure in 2011, and in Magic Kingdom in 2012. In this ride there are over 200 animatronic figures, but one of these animatronics stands out. A 7.5-foot tall, 12-foot wide Ursula animatronic sings, casts spells over her cauldron, and bounces along in her slithery, serpentine manner of choice with incredible detail, a surprising range of movement, and super elastic skin. The creepy mood is set when we see Flotsam and Jetsam, Ursula's pet eels, welcoming us to the Sea Witch's lair. We enter the mouth of an enormous sea dragon skeleton, and here's where we find Ursula singing "Poor Unfortunate Souls," standing at her crystal ball and surrounded by her collection of lost souls. This animatronic is one of the largest ever created, and it is so lifelike it looks really creepy. But nothing compares to when the animatronic malfunctioned back in January of this year. Ursula lost her head. The creepiest thing about it is that the animatronic kept working, so she kept singing with her head hanging. Xenomorph from The Great Movie Ride. The Great Movie Ride opened in Disney MGM Studios in 1989. In fact, the ride directly inspired the creation of Disney's Hollywood Studios. This ride represented Hollywood and recreated iconic scenes from 12 classic films throughout motion picture history. Disney incorporated films from outside its own library. They were able to do so mainly through its licensing agreement with MGM. One of these movies was Alien. Disney originally acquired the licensing rights to the film for a ride that ended up being extraterrestrial Alien Encounter. Disney retained the rights to use Alien and decided to incorporate it into the Great Movie Ride. In the scene, we enter a seemingly abandoned spaceship, the Nostromo. The ride vehicle passed an audio animatronic Ellen Ripley, holding a flamethrower as she prepares to confront a creature lurking within the ship. The creature is the Xenomorph. Two animatronic versions of the alien are used in this segment of the ride, one activated right after the other to create the illusion of two different attacks from the same creature from two different locations. This part of the Great Movie Ride terrified both kids and adults alike. Sadly, the Great Movie Ride closed on August 13, 2017, to make way for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Disney has some amazing animatronics in their parks, and many of them are pretty scary. But Universal also has a lot of creepy and frightening animatronics, and we thought we should add them to the list. So here are some pretty terrifying Universal animatronics. Kong Skull Island, Reign of Kong. For decades, King Kong terrorized guests at both Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Studios Florida in different ways. In Hollywood, he had a small but starring part in the studio tram tour. This animatronic was 30 feet tall, and it was considered one of the most stunning figures on Earth when it debuted in 1986. Sadly, this scene was destroyed by a massive fire in 2008.
The only other building that was damaged was the King Kong attraction, which has been destroyed.
How extensive is the damage to that building and the attraction?
Well, I would think that's totally destroyed.
And it ended up being replaced by King Kong 363D, which doesn't feature an animatronic. Then Universal planned to build a studio tour in Florida, but Disney beat them by opening their own studio theme park.
Now comes the new Disney MGM Studios theme park.
So, Universal smartly split the components of the Hollywood studio tour into separate, standalone attractions. So, Kong was supersized into its own attraction with the wild, raging ape terrorizing Manhattan. But after barely a decade in action, Kongfrontation folded to Universal's rapid growth, and Revenge of the Mummy took its spot. After a 14-year absence, the King returned to Universal's Islands of Adventure. Skull Island, Reign of Kong, takes us to the prehistoric sinister jungles of an uncharted island. At the end of the ride, we get to see Kong again. This animatronic is nearly 30 feet tall and 18 feet wide. It also looks so real. That's why he makes the list to be one of the scariest animatronics. The T-Rex from Jurassic Park The Ride. Universal gambled big when they designed and constructed Jurassic Park The Ride because the movie hadn't even come out yet. The ride was designed to replicate the atmosphere of Isla Nublar. Guests began the queue by walking under the Jurassic Park sign before waiting under an open-wall building. A tour guide appeared on the television monitors in the building, reviewing boarding and ride safety. Once you are in the ride, a playful hadrosaur knocks your tour boat off course and causes it to enter the raptor containment area, which is shown to be heavily damaged. The raft then entered the Environmental Systems building and slowly began to ascend a long lift hill. A voice on a loudspeaker in the building alerted guests that an emergency evacuation was going to be attempted. The raft then climbed a small lift hill that brought it closer to the emergency evacuation drop. But the technician warns guests that a T-Rex is in the building. Ahead of the boat, a waterfall parts, revealing a massive T-Rex that lurches forward, throws its head back and roars, then lowers its massive jaws to within inches of your boat just as it hits a nearby vertical 85-foot drop. This was a brief but stunning encounter with one of the most intimidating animatronics ever created. Jurassic Park The Ride was closed in Universal Studios Hollywood to make way for a new Jurassic World ride. Hopefully we'll get to see an Indoraptor in this new ride. And with this, we finish our third and final Scariest Animatronics video and our Halloween special. Hope you enjoyed it, and happy Halloween!